Mi gente, yesterday I posted a video about Dave Meltzer and Booker T and what Booker T said about him, how Dave Meltzer should be banned from professional wrestling and how he is toxic and he is actually the biggest wedge in between AEW and WWE. And although I do think that's true, and although I do think that what Eric Bischoff has said since the 90s, since he took over WCW, that Dave Meltzer himself has been one of the cancers of the internet wrestling community, or just wrestling community as a whole, because obviously he started before the internet was a thing. I wanted to make it known that I personally don't agree with either superstar in terms of him being banned from professional wrestling. What Dave Meltzer does is gives insight into things that we would never know. Sure, do I believe kayfabe is super important in professional wrestling? Absolutely. Do I like the fact that MJF is a dick when you meet him out in public? The same guy he is when you meet him or when you see him in the shows? Absolutely. That's great for professional wrestling. Do I like the fact that The Undertaker lived his character for 20 years and wouldn't sign autographs and wouldn't do any of that stuff? Absolutely, I love that. But what I also like is the fact that I can read a newsletter or I can read some sheets and I can find out, hey, this guy's coming in. It's because of Dave Meltzer that I knew that Chris Jericho had signed with the WWF in 1999. And I was excited for that countdown. It's because of Dave Meltzer that I knew that Bryan Danielson was signed to WWE to inevitably be Daniel Bryan on the NXT brand. It's because of Dave Meltzer that I knew that Low Key was going to be on the second season or the third season of NXT as Caval. And I was going to be super excited because I had followed both of these guys for the beginning of their career. Dave Meltzer has given us a lot. He's taken away from us because he is a major part into why CM Punk didn't work in AEW, whether you choose to believe it or not. He plays a major role. But he is super important to professional wrestling. If you don't see that, you just don't want to see that. So just take a step back. Go back and watch some of the stuff from the Wrestling Observer. Go back and read some of the stuff. He isn't always toxic. Am I a personal fan of his? No, not at all. I don't like his star rating. I think it's stupid. On my podcast, I don't do a star rating. Yo soy boricua, coño. So I do an empanada rating. So for me, when I watch a match like Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland, I gave that shit 5 empanadas. That's what I did. That was 5 empanadas. That was the best TV match I've seen in years. But as for the star rating, that's his personal preference. That's what he calls the match. And can you really take his star rating seriously? He didn't give Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 21 a 5-star rating. Come on now.